Hello, everyone. Welcome back. My name is Brittany Simon. We do philosophy through pop culture, and right now we're doing Mormon Wives, Season 2. This is episode 4. Yes, it is episode 4. It's called The Book of Taboos, and I'm very excited to see what happens.
Cameron's my boyfriend. He seriously is the best. Me and Cam's connection is a lot different than me and my ex's because I feel like he genuinely sees me and cares for how I feel in every situation.
Okay, Layla actually has like a featured partner now because I, from last season, don't remember her partner at all. I feel like we had been introduced to Layla during her divorce period, if I remember. So she's dating Cam. Let's see what happens.
Is that beer?
Should I try it first time?
You should try it
First
for the first time. I still can't believe you've never tried it once in your
Never
life.
tasted it.
Cameron's dad is a bishop, so his family is very strong in the church, which makes him a bit conservative when it comes to certain things.
So there's like beer ice cream, and I guess he's never tried beer. And interesting because, you know, they started off this season 2 with down with the patriarchy, or at least combating the patriarchy within the Mormon church. So it's interesting that she's with somebody who's a little bit more conservative, but also, you know, I wonder what that means in this context.
I'm gonna try. I'll do an edible over smoking.
I think we should try it.
So he just said that he's never even done an edible, but if he did do weed, he would do an edible over smoking. It's such an interesting thing just because, like, you know, I grew up in such the anti-drug era of the 90s, 2000s, and DARE was so big and all of these things that never worked on any of us. And now a lot of us, you know, I'm a big proponent of ethically consuming drugs. It's interesting when your religion is so tied into it because in Catholicism, it's not that you can't have alcohol or drugs. It's just that you shouldn't do anything that abuses the temple of the Lord. But Mormons take it a little bit more serious in a sense, from my understanding. I get serious in a sense, like depending on the context. It is kind of interesting to see because I know that some of the girls or sometimes some of the boys or some people in the community definitely engage in drugs or alcohol. I wonder if Mormonism's relationship with drugs and alcohol seems to actually improve the community's relationship with it, or does it feel like it tempts people to do it more? And maybe the ex-Mormons in my chat can tell me, because I just know growing up as a Catholic, I think it was convincing in some ways, but not really. Like realistically, I think all of us are curious about the things our parents keep from us, which makes us more likely to engage with it because it was such a, quote, mystery. So I don't know if this is really helping young Mormon people be tempted away or towards it, or I don't know.
All right, we'll see.
And then you're going to get the munchies and it's so fun.
Things are going really great with Cameron. I feel like our sex life is good, but I've still yet to experience
Pause. She just said our sex life is good. So you can have sex before marriage, but you don't want to have a beer ice cream? What are we talking about, Cam?
an orgasm with a partner. It's something
Oh yeah, Layla had said that she hadn't experienced the big O with a partner even when she was married, but she says that they have a really healthy sex life, so good.
that I really want for myself, but something that's kind of ingrained in our church that you're not really supposed to enjoy sex until you're married. And I think that that put a constant shame in my head around sex in general.
Wait, I gotta listen to that again. Did she say she did have the big O or she didn't have the big O? Hold on. Oh, she said, but she has yet to experience an orgasm. Oh, I thought she said she did. Okay. Also, where are the subtitles? I usually have subtitles on. This is why we need the subtitles, girls.
Dad being a bishop is so much responsibility in the church, and like that's just how I grew up. Weed and drinking and stuff. Like we just never talked about it.
I don't necessarily think Cameron's family has any hard feelings about me being in mom talk.
Okay, so they're at least talking about it. Cam said growing up, since his dad's a bishop, they didn't really talk in detail about what, you know, doing stuff. They just knew not to do it. But he's kind of out of his comfort zone dating Layla, and Layla's out of her comfort zone dating him. So there's something to be said about that. But she also said something interesting about Cam's family not necessarily having a strong opinion about her being in mom talk, which is interesting because from my understanding, the Mormon church is not very excited about mom talk. Okay, so his family doesn't know that they're intimate.
They'll figure it out eventually, or if they ask me about it, like I'd be open.
Or if they watch this show, they'll probably find out. But then again, to be fair, if they're really conservative parents, maybe they would never watch the show.
Do you feel like pressure about me, like, in making me orgasm?
Yeah, obviously, of course.
Oh my God, the pressure is on. I am going to say what I said last season. And I'm going to say this, and I've said this since day, no one's in charge of your orgasm but you. You're the only one who knows your body. And you have to teach your partner how to make you come. I think porn and movies have made us believe that people should be able to read our minds and our bodies. But if you don't even know how to make yourself come, like how's your partner supposed to figure it out? And I just think it is unnecessary pressure when sex should be a symbiotic exploration into new territory or old territory. But I just think it should be a joint effort. And I find that my sex life is the most satisfactory. And it's always been good, even when I was a virgin and I was having sex at 22, because I advocate for myself. And I just really encourage everyone to advocate for themselves in the most loving way and to show people where to touch you and how to touch you and how you like it, because I just never want anyone to feel like they have to read my mind. Even though I know it's ingrained in us because of culture to think that people should be able to read our mind, or that if it's the love of your life, the sex is going to be automatically good. But I just think the chemistry, as long as the chemistry is there, the sex will follow with communication.
I am like lagging today. Like Dakota.
Have you talked to him at all after the party?
Well, I made sure he was okay because like,
Dakota.
obviously, like
I was worried about that when
I
he
do
started off.
worry about him. Like obviously, when you have a past like that, like that's like life or death for people. So it's like I checked up on him.
Okay, so the girls are getting together to talk about the Halloween party and to just catch up. And Taylor's saying that she was concerned about Dakota leaving the party, and so she wanted to check up on him, which is nice. That's good.
Since the Halloween party, Miranda and I are cordial, but Dakota and I are currently in a fight with recovering addicts. You never know, and so I think I'll always worry about that.
Sure. I wonder if Taylor, does anybody know? Because I know Taylor had an issue with stuff. Is she considered a recovering alcoholic or addict? Because I know when she met Dakota, that was like a thing. But then I see him at these parties and I get confused. But I guess he's been pretty okay with being at the party because there's been alcohol, but not drinking, which is good. But it's nice, I think, to see Taylor concerned, right? I think this is good that Taylor is concerned. I think it shows empathy. Or am I misreading it?
Chase, like just pointing, like literally so close to your face and so aggressively pointing at you, like every husband probably would have lost it there.
Well, I was like, the fact that they all saw it except you is like embarrassing. I have nothing to say.
Yeah, so there's this idea, this energy from the girls where they're kind of almost like giving disappointed that Taylor's talking to Dakota, but he's her co-parent. You have to talk. You've got to figure out how to co-parent successfully. It's going to take a while to transition from together to co-parenting. And I think it's just going to be hard until it's easy, hopefully.
Okay, like when are you picking him up?
And just like separate and take care of your baby. I don't know.
That's what I'm saying.
And the girls are talking about co-parenting. And I understand because you think it's broken up, it's done, get over it. But it does take time after a breakup to move on, right?
I think you two have to work on yourselves and by yourselves without each other.
I think I agree with this idea that you need to separate and work on it yourselves. But I think it's still going to be awkward, right? And they're showing up. There's mom talk events. There's these parties. Like, that's not going to help either. I don't know why the girls are facilitating social situations where Dakota and Taylor are in the same room and then expect Taylor and Dakota to sort of have a more or like a healthier, smoother transition into co-parenting. It's like none of y'all are helping with this.
If you're going on a date during all of this, you're not my person at all.
Well, not even your person, you're just irresponsible. Like, now is not the time for either of you to be dating. But see how Taylor said you're not my person at all? So I think she is kind of still hoping that her and Dakota will be together. And why wouldn't she in the back of her head still want that? What she wants and what she needs, they're two separate things. And right now they're in conflict.
Like, I can't say, yes, I'm done with Dakota forever, or I want to be with him right now. Like, I just I don't know.
I think this is normal. I mean, I've been through enough breakups in my life to know that it takes a second. Even when you're done, it can take a second for you not to feel tempted to go back. And it's difficult. Those days when you're like, okay, I'm done for real, they come after a long time of trying to be done for some of us.
It is so toxic. It's like oil and water. I understand, like, you want to make it work with the person you have a baby with, but I just don't see it working out.
Me neither, girl.
I need to go to therapy.
I really, really hope Taylor is seeing a non-Mormon therapist. No offense. Like, I just think anybody who's more, she needs to see a secular, liberal, feministy, leftisty, queer something therapist. Like, somebody who's not in this bubble and somebody who's not going to push their agenda on her, but somebody who's going to give her the room to feel liberated without holding this Mormon standard that is obviously not good for Taylor.
Everyone's like, let it go, or like, do this, do that. And it's like, my brain is like, fucked. Like,
and she just had a baby. Who knows how much that is like impacting her emotions, her chemistry. Like, I wish somebody would intervene here and really understand that this woman just had a baby. She's going through a separation. Everything's a mess. Everybody's down her throat. She's on mom talk. She's got the internet. Sounds stressful.
it doesn't matter. It's going to always be there until we fix it.
Yeah.
And rewire your brain. So
Yeah. But it is possible, though. So it's
yes.
like
It's just work in progress. And I'm tired of everyone being like, and we're exhausted. Well, guess what? Me too.
Obviously, Taylor's like so stressed right now. I wish somebody would give her relief without it having strings attached. Like, just look at how they all showed up to this dinner or this brunch or whatever it is. Both of the girls have their makeup on. They look rested. Taylor looks really stressed. She's not wearing makeup. She looks really tired. And I just wish people, and again, this is me as an outsider looking in, I don't know, but I wish somebody would give her a reprieve without there being strings attached, because her mom has strings attached. Her friends feel like they have strings attached. Dakota has strings attached. I just wish she could have a second, maybe even a week or two of just to reset, right? And to figure out what's going on, because it's not going to fix everything a week or two, but maybe it will help center her.
I think Taylor and Dakota's relationship is kind of already detrimental to Taylor's health and mental well-being. He's been deceitful and lying to you and gaslighting you for the last 2 years. But now that she has a baby, I understand that it adds a difficult dynamic. I just want her to be healthy, and I want her to have a healthy relationship.
Well, to be honest too, even if they didn't have that baby, it might have been still difficult, but a little easier, obviously.
We were supposed to have therapy on Monday together, but I don't know if he'll show up.
Okay, they're supposed to have group therapy together on Monday. Let's see if they show up, because this would be a testament to his character. And even though Dakota keeps saying, I want to be there, the truth is that he did lie to her for 2 years, that he did deceive her, that he had an opportunity to be upfront and honest, and he chose not to. And he admitted he wasn't honest with her because he, quote, didn't want to hurt Taylor's feelings. But you know what I mean? This is why my partner and I practice radical honesty, because it's just such a painful process to think you know somebody and then to find out that they've been lying to you. It's very painful. And it's, I think it's painful when it comes from anybody, but I think when you choose to do life with somebody, I just think that's like such a specific kind of pain. For me, at least, it's much easier to me when my little siblings lie or they are going through something. Like, I'm like, I'm disappointed, but like, what are you going to do? But when your partner does it, it's like, oh, that feels very different from me. Like, to me, that feels very significantly different, because I thought we were doing life together, like we had to be on the same page. And so I think it can just feel so much more hurtful coming from a partner.
A few months ago, I got 2 confessions on Sinner Sunday.
Wait, is it about me?
PTSD. No. Well, I always get ones about you, but this is not what I'm talking about. But it said, I slept with Demi's husband last year while she was away.
All right, pause. I'm already upset for Demi if this is true. If Brett did this to Demi, I'm going to be livid. This is how we found out about Taylor and Dakota's thing, because somebody submitted a confession to this. So if this is true, I am going to be absolutely livid, and it better not be true. And whoever sent that message is a horrible person unless it is true. And then in that case, oh my gosh.
Nothing would surprise me anymore.
Ugh, that sucks. To some extent that's true. Like, nothing surprises me anymore. But also, I do think there are certain people that just have like a character MO. And I would be shocked if certain people did stuff. I'd be like, really? Like, it's so outside of your MO. But I don't know, Brett. I don't know if this, and please leave your comments down below. Just try not to give spoilers, or at least let me know if it's going to be a spoiler comment so I don't read it. But does Brett come off like that kind of a person? Or I guess I wouldn't be surprised in this group of people, but Brett actually doesn't come off like that kind of a person to me. Not that we see him often. So I think I would be kind of shocked, but also in this group, it's hard to be shocked.
It's been very hard to talk to the girls about everything that I'm going through. And so it's been nice having Miranda. She's the only person right now that has validated me.
So Jen is going to Miranda for comfort, because Miranda's in Mom Talk, but not in Mom Talk. So she knows everybody involved, but she's not a part of Mom Talk yet. So it kind of feels like, I don't know if this is the right word. Ooh, I don't want to use it incorrectly. Is it triangulation? When they she's she's talking. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Triangulation? What is it called? When you go to one source that knows the source to kind of create am I using it correctly? I don't think so. I'm a philosophy channel, not a psychology channel, but that's what it reminds me of, where it's like, okay, so you are involving somebody in the group, but also we all involve each other, and also we all talk to each other, but it feels like the new girl should be out of it in a sense, because she's not in the group yet, but you're bringing her into the drama before she's back in the group. Does that kind of make sense? We'll see.
When did it hit you that it was time to
split?
Yeah.
I can't remember if it was an argument we had or something. And I was just like, I'm done. I'm done. And then it literally was like a switch.
Oof, don't I tell you that all the time? I tell you guys that all the time. It's like a switch. It's like you're in a relationship, you're trying so hard, it's so toxic, and then one day it just switch. And you're like, oh, I'm done. You know what I can equate it to, which is so not the same thing, but it's just an idea of the energies. Like, you know, when you autistically or ADHD have like a favorite meal, you're like, this is the greatest thing ever. I'm going to eat it every day for 2 weeks. And it's like the greatest thing. You look forward to it. And then one day you wake up and you eat it and you're like, no, I'm over this. That's kind of what it feels like. Except the switch in a relationship is different. It's not the same, obviously, one-to-one, but it's different in a toxic relationship because you're actually just like being beaten down. You're like, you come in as a full ice sculpture, but after time, it just chips away at you until you're like nothing. That's more analogous. But I think the neurodivergence will get what I mean about the favorite meal thing. It's like you're excited, but then there's like a switch. That's how the switch feels after years or months of being chipped down.
And then I just remember feeling so much more calm.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm very much like, I'm so much happier now.
Oh my gosh. Oh, to be honest, I'm not okay right now. Trying like so hard not to like. I'm sorry. I hate crying.
Don't be sorry. Maybe she's not receiving the support that she needs in mom talk right now. She needs to be supported in that journey.
So Miranda does empathize with Jen. And she said if Jen's not ready to leave Zach, then she needs to be supported. But the dilemma, again, it feels like Jen is misusing the relationship with Miranda to validate her feelings against the other girls. And even here, she states that the other girls have put her in a position that's uncomfortable without taking any accountability for how she has created the uncomfortable situations. So my concern is that Jen is using Miranda in a manipulative way, at least that's the way it looks like in the edit, to basically garner sympathy and empathy and to turn Miranda almost against the girls in a sense. But it's so inappropriate because Jen created these uncomfortable situations by venting to the girls. And by the way, you know, she has some accountability to, you know, own up to. So yeah, I'm kind of concerned with how this conversation is going.
If I do struggle in my relationship, I feel like I can't go to them.
Go to your therapist. If you're struggling in your relationship, don't go to your friends, go to a therapist. Because if you're struggling in your relationship, your friends will naturally want to hate your partner on behalf of the way you're describing the issue in your relationship. If you don't want your friends to not like your partners because you tell them horrible things about them, then you do need to tell a therapist. That's the problem, is like you can't have it both ways. You can't complain to your friends about how horrible your relationship is and then be surprised your friends hate your relationship or don't want you to date your husband or don't want you to date whoever you're dating. That's what a therapist is for. It's a neutral party who understands the psychological perspective to help you along and give you tools to fix your life without judgment. Yeah, you can't be surprised that the people in your life care about you because you're worrying them. We're worried for you. You're confusing us. Should we be worried for you or not?
Because I feel like they already have this like narrative in their head. I'm definitely in the midst of spiritual warfare where I'm just doubting everything. I feel like I've distanced myself from like church.
That's interesting. So she feels like she's distanced herself from the religion, which is interesting because in season 1, her and Zach were like pretty in it. But I can see why an issue in their marriage should cause an issue in their faith in Christ. I always forget. Obviously, Mormons believe in Jesus, but it takes me a second to remember that. But you know what I mean? Like I'm sorry, it's just such a recent religion and Joseph Smith is so recent. It just feels really weird to believe in Mormonism to me, but like you do you. I'm not surprised, but also fascinating that instead of getting closer to your religion and pulls you apart when your life starts to fall apart.
It's just hard because like my relationship with God is like everything.
Interesting. She said her religion with God is everything, but it feels like he's quiet right now. But then she said she distanced herself from the church, which is interesting that she didn't go harder into the religion. She moved further away from it when she feels like she said, God is everything to me. But like, is it? Is anything to Jen? Her kids don't feel like everything. Her marriage doesn't feel like everything. Mom talk doesn't feel like anything. Honestly, it feels like Jen doesn't have a priority. Does it feel that way to you guys? I feel like Jen doesn't have anything she's truly prioritizing, and it's probably because she is really going through it. And it's hard to prioritize anything when you feel so distant from yourself. I feel like she needs to prioritize a relationship with herself, not a relationship with anybody else but herself, so she can show up for everybody else. But it's hard to do that when you already have babies who rely on you and friends who rely on you and a husband who relies on you and a job that is the sole income. Like, that's a lot of pressure. I feel like her and Taylor and a lot of these girls need a vacation, but not a party vacation, a like retreat meditative vacation, something.
I don't even know what I believe in, what my current purposes.
There it is. She doesn't know what she believes in, and she doesn't know what her current purpose is. That's that relationship with self. Yourself related to yourself, and yourself related to everything outside of yourself. Who am I with myself, like my relationship with self, and who am I in relation to how I show up in the world for other people? Hard to, sometimes we have moments in our life where we're good in one part and bad in the other part, and then sometimes we have a problem where we're kind of bad at both. And it's kind of like a journey where it's like, man, what am I doing? Why aren't I introspecting? Why aren't I extrospecting? Why aren't I really challenging and asking myself, and why am I so unsure, and why are all my tools not working?
Just confront them for what happened. Yeah, you guys want to do some betting? I'm just kidding.
Okay, Zach made a little betting joke. So Zach invited the boys, Jordan and Brett, to have a conversation about the Chippendales dance at his expense and Jen's expense. And then he made a little joke, like, should we put money on it? Should we bet golfing? And they all did. So this is okay. Got a sense of humor. Okay, let's see how it goes.
I did want to come here today and just talk to you guys about some stuff.
Yeah.
I know you guys didn't have any bad intent, but I still think it was a little bit disrespectful, but mostly just like insensitive, man to man. Like if you guys did respect me or you guys did support my relationship, you guys could have let me know. 10 minutes earlier, you guys were both out almost physically assaulting someone over
them physically assaulting his wife. Yeah.
Okay,
for sure. And
Ooh, they're calling it physically assaulting Demi, which I don't consider that. Physical assaults. Physical assault for me is like very specific forms of escalation of like, hey, don't do that. I feel like calling it physical assault is a little bit too in your feelings personally. Like if he had physically assaulted Demi in a real way, like he had punched her, then you would have pinned him to the ground and waited till the cops came. I don't think you really think that was physical assault because one, he wasn't a threat. You just needed him to verbally apologize. You didn't call the cops. Like calling it physical assault feels like it's not, it needs more than just an apology in a sense. Like something more needs to happen. Like he's not a danger to the public because he tapped Demi, but he might be a danger to the public if he punched her, because then it's like, whoa, or if he pulled her hair or, something else. Like obviously I've been in situations where I've seen people fight each other, right? And nobody calls the cops because it's like two people fighting and it's like, But if it's one person hitting another person who's unsuspecting, then usually either the cops are called or people hold people down or people separate people. I just feel like a little bit of this is too much of a cope, but I don't know. You guys tell me what you think in your bubbles.
I'll never walk away from that in my entire life because the way I was raised is you don't ever put a hand on a woman.
You just did the same thing right after. So hear me out.
I didn't touch Jen.
Okay, if you want to be petty, I can be petty with you. I'm doing this in a respectful way.
Uh-oh.
I watched the whole situation. What Chase did is he went up to me and touched her without consent in a condescending way.
Right, I agree with that. It was without her consent in a condescending way.
What you guys did was touch my wife without consent in a condescending way.
Ooh, because they gave her a lap dance, I believe. Interesting.
Same thing.
Mm-hmm. The thing that I have a tough time with is that Jen was warned what the whole bit was, and she was also told that you could be included, and she didn't choose to tell you that.
Oh, so they feel like Jen gave explicit consent, but Zach didn't know about it. Uh-oh.
And honestly, there needs to be accountability on Jen's end for not putting you in the know because it was said that there was going to be surprises. And that doesn't mean that I shouldn't have reached out and definitely and try to include you or invite you into that. Okay,
they're handling it really nice right now. Like this is a very difficult conversation, but I think the boys are handling it really well. Okay.
I agree with that.
Honestly, this is going to sound so strange, but as toxic as this group is, and they are so toxic, I think everyone is, when they're having serious conversations, I noticed this with Taylor and Miranda, they do pretty okay at having relatively good conversations, calm. No one's escalating. It's only in the group settings where there's like drinking or partying going on that everyone gets like really in each other's face. But for the most part, I feel like when it's 1-to-1, or in this case, 1 versus 2, I guess, it's not that bad. And I think that's good. I'm glad that they're not always escalating.
Was under the impression that you were in the know.
That is something Jen and I have to hash out. And if it later comes out that she didn't tell me the truth, that's going to suck. Jen has, again.
Damn, so we know Jen's lying to him because we saw the TV clip. But this Zach won't know till this show airs, which is now, I guess. So the question is, how does present day, July 6th, Zach feel about this?
sworn on our children's life. This is her story. I'm going to have to believe her, and I'm going to let her hash it out with Jesse and to me, and whatever comes out, or if it doesn't, it is what it is. I just wanted to come to you guys because I still would have wished
100%.
You guys would have told me. I talked to you that morning.
This all comes down to two things: intent and communication. At the center of it, Jen might be a little bit of a moving target depending upon the situation and how she might be feeling, and how she might be feeling you might react. Her message might change a little bit. There may be some nuances that change a little bit. So I'm just asking you to be open to that.
Yeah.
Damn, they're treading really good. It's so interesting to tread this because, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is so interesting the way they're handling the conflict, and I'm kind of impressed, to be honest, because it's it could get so heated so quickly. So I'm actually super impressed with how they're dignifying everyone's responses and lived experience, and the possibility that Jen could be one way or another. Okay.
Just trying to handle it the best I can and still show up for my wife and be a good husband.
Because I'm telling you, man to man, had I thought for even 1 millisecond that this was going to cause any kind of issue whatsoever in your marriage, it never would have happened.
Yeah, like I believe that for some reason, but I don't know if I should. But I kind of do think, I don't know why. I'm not like very into Brett and Demi's like age difference in a sense, but at the same time, I, for some weird reason, have a better impression of Brett than anybody else in the group. And I can't tell why. Maybe it's just the way that it's edited. But now, because of that Sunday gossip thing, whatever, confessions, saying Brett cheated on Demi, now I'm finding myself like questioning my own observation of the edit, you know, because it is just an edit. Like I cannot tell what's going on for real, but maybe it's because Brett isn't often in conflict, and that's why it was so disappointing to see him go after Chase. Okay, I looked it up. Chase. It was difficult to see him engage with Chase in such a particular way. It made me think less of him. But then at the same time, it's hard because there is all this misinformation going around. It's hard to know who to trust. And right now, the edit makes me doubt Jen the most. Kind of scared for Jen and the future of everything going on. And I'm just so unsure if she realizes what a big deal this is, because she's kind of the villain. Like, she's kind of causing a lot of issues with a lot of people, which sucks. I really wish these people could get the help they needed to be better. But also I wonder, because it really feels like Jen's going through it. You know, I want to be empathetic to that. It does feel like she's really going through it. It just sucks that it's coming at the expense of all these people. And somebody in my comment section said that Jen's like a super people pleaser. So that's probably playing a role. Definitely, we should deconstruct that because it's definitely not helping.
Dakota came to our therapy session. That's when you step in as a man and be like, you do not talk to her that way.
That's when you step in as a man. See how gender ruins everything? The gender expectation that this is what you're supposed to do as a man is so reductive. We need to get away from it. This is not helping.
Back the fuck up. Like, that's what I would want my man to do for me.
Me, Brittany, as a person who's partnered, I would not want my partner to do that. If anything, I would want my partner to have created a scenario where we're not even at that party to begin with. And also, I'd like to be a person who's not at that party to begin with, because we shouldn't be around people who would even have that social situation happen, not more than once, or at least not with an understanding that like they're working on it, because that's really toxic.
The husband immediately was like, you go fucking apologize to my wife.
If you ever acted like you wanted anything to do with me.
My ex would have defended me in that situation.
Ooh, and now she's comparing Dakota to her ex. Ugh.
I feel like the last few years have actually been the hardest. I feel like I've been insecure with Dakota, him thinking certain things and saying things, and my family saying you didn't respect yourself. I think it just like added, and ever since then it's just been hard to like pick back up and feel confident again. In our therapy session, Dakota finally took a step back and was processing, and I feel like
I don't like that their therapy sessions are filmed. I cannot believe you are serious about therapy and getting better if you're willing to film it and make it content. There are just some things that aren't for content. Look, I am a content creator. I do this full time for a living. They're TikTokers. I'm a YouTuber. Why do you think I do not bring stuff to the internet? Why do you think my partner's private or my family's private? We've seen what happens to content creators who make their life content. They're often very toxic, and the relationships often implode, and it's not healthy for anybody. That's why family vloggers and all these other people, like, we all look at them with a side eye. It's just not healthy. It's rarely healthy. It's rarely done right. And it's rarely given the dignity that it should be given. And so, like, what did we expect? Like, that's the problem. I don't understand how they don't know that there's a formula here in marketing. They are a perfect package to market as the toxic, crazy Mormon people. Look at these crazy Mormons and their crazy lives. And it's not even like, look at these crazy religious Mormons. It's look at what this crazy religious bubble does to the people in it who want to be a little different. It's like, it's not good for anybody. Like nobody's benefiting from this series existing except those of us that are watching from a distance and saying no to self, don't be like these people. The only people who really benefit are us because we get to literally say like, no to self.
First time he was not only hearing me, but he was listening to me.
Okay.
I don't actually have an issue with you like trying to process these things and like you struggling. Like I'm still here. I think the only thing I've ever actually wanted is forgiveness.
Interesting. Dakota said the only thing he's ever really needed was forgiveness. I feel like they both need forgiveness for their selves. I think he needs to forgive himself and she needs to forgive herself. And then they should both be honest with each other about value differences and how they're not very compatible and it's okay. And that the chances of them working to be compatible are probably not as like high, but possible. I just think that both of them are like being eaten. They're both being eaten up by the guilt and the shame, but they don't even know why. I don't think they really know why they feel guilty or shameful. And I think there's too many voices getting in the way, including the fact that this is filmed and they know the camera's on and they know this will show up and they know that some stranger on the internet named Brittany Simon's going to review it for her her viewers. Like, don't you guys think that's weird? Like, don't you guys think it's weird that your therapy session is now part of my YouTube content? Your therapy session should not be YouTube content, but here we are.
I do feel like we finally had this mini breakthrough. I feel like I saw the soft side of Dakota that I initially fell for. Healing is really hard because I think it gets really ugly before it gets pretty. There's so many great things I love about him and vice versa. Like, that's why we won't let each other go because it's like so good when it's good.
Ooh, she said, I don't think Dakota's really failed me because failing is when you give up and you don't try. Sometimes success looks like divorce. Sometimes success looks like breaking up. Just because the marriage ended and it failed as a marriage didn't mean it wasn't successful as a decision. You know,
Layla's definitely gone through some changes from going through a divorce to getting her boobs done. But one thing that remains is that she has yet to have an orgasm. Jesse and I kind of want to take the pressure off and maybe inform her on how to achieve that.
Oh, like a how-to party. Okay, girls.
So we thought of a cute idea to throw her a sex party.
Okay. Woo, Erica Lemke, a certified sex and relationship coach. We love it. Okay, good idea.
Definitely some shame that comes along with being a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I am hoping that she's able to remove the taboo around sex.
Love this. Love the idea of removing the taboo. Sometimes, I said earlier that Layla's got to know her body to share it. But sometimes you got to remove the taboo of even learning about your body in the first place to really enjoy it. So I'm really excited for Layla. I just think this is such a good idea. I've been to so many sex education parties and they've always benefited me. I've taken classes on fisting. I've taken classes on orgasms. I've taken classes on so many different things and it's always been a beneficial experience. And I really do recommend it because people that are really excited about healthy sex will teach you how to have healthy consensual relationships and will teach you skills that you never thought to learn because society doesn't teach them to you.
We talked and I think she was asking a lot of questions about my divorce.
So Jen's coming, but she's not there yet. And the girls, Demi asked if anyone knows anything, any updates. And Miranda volunteered, which is a decision that Jen came over and asked her questions about her divorce. And I don't know how I feel about that. I feel like Miranda could have in this moment made the decision not to volunteer information just to keep things private. But also Jen shouldn't go to Miranda, I think, and tell her things about the other girls. I just feel like, again, I think everyone's talking to too many people and too many people are in the know.
Anyone know how she's feeling about the Chippendales situation?
Yeah, it feels weird that it's one thing for the girls to ask, which is in some way inappropriate. It's one thing for Miranda to volunteer this much information and to speak for Jen. Because one, you're not friends with these girls like that. You're not in the mom talk like that. It's very specifically different. Even amongst my siblings and I, if one sibling comes to me and says hey, do you know anything about this and this? I say well, you could ask that sibling, or I might know something, but I'm not going to volunteer it. Let me ask the sibling if it's okay to talk about it. Or sometimes there are things that are okay to share with one another and then we all get involved. But there are just certain things you confirm with the person who told you before you tell other people. Even though I understand that sometimes people tell you things that are really private and you have to tell somebody so you can like talk it through with somebody else. Usually you should tell people that like aren't directly involved, or maybe will never meet that person, or like a therapist, because obviously there are definitely things that I know I tell my friends that I'm sure they're telling other people. But these are people like, I don't know, we're not going to be involved. They're getting advice, whatever. That's fine. Like, I understand that sometimes our friends tell us stuff and it's heavy in its own right, and you got to talk to somebody about it. And I just think the best person to talk to is like somebody who will never interact with that friendship. Kind of like when a coworker tells you something, you don't tell other coworkers. You tell somebody you don't work with. Do you know what I'm saying? So for Jen to talk to Miranda to talk to the girls, like, this is not going to end well. And now Jen's coming over. You just know the drama is about to happen.
Taylor, I'm going to start with you. What arouses you?
Oh,
I love like a scenario in my head.
Okay, so some fantasy play.
Yes.
Okay, that's awesome. How about for you?
Dirty talk.
Dirty talk. Nasty. Layla, how about for you?
Actually feeling something. I don't know. I like seeing like my partner.
Okay, like connection.
I wonder if Layla, see, here's the problem is like, this bubble only has so many words to express what they might like, which is why I love sex positive bubbles, because it's so education based. Like the right sex positive bubble is also educating you in a non-judgmental way about the possibility that you could be demi or ace or any of the things. And so I always wonder for people when they do struggle with orgasm, is that a physiological thing? Is that biological? Is it mental? Is it maybe just like something that's not a problem actually, but you think is a problem because the world's told you it is a problem, and so you feel like it's a problem? There's so much here.
Like, what about it for you that has nothing to do with him?
I think the fact that I'm not able to answer the question on what turns me on is kind of a big revelation for me.
Ooh, a little bubble pop, thanks to the sexpert, is the realization that she doesn't even know what arouses her. Wow.
I think that's honestly maybe contributing to why I'm not able to enjoy sex.
We're our first sexual partners.
Yes.
So if we're not exploring our own bodies to kind of figure out what we like, what pleases us, and what doesn't, then how are we to express that to our partners, right?
Oh, yeah. Exactly what I'm trying to say, girls. Exactly what I'm trying to say. We are our first sexual partners. Our relationship with ourselves, like philosophically and sexually, it's so important. It's so important. Love her. Love her.
Soft touch that you can give your partner, and then let her give you feedback on what feels good. Okay.
And you know what's really important about these parties is that she's not trying to turn them on. She's just having them test what gets them going, but not to arouse them. I remember when I went to my first BDSM party ever, because BDSM is a lifestyle. It's not just about sex. It's about learning yourself. The first party I ever went to, there was a showing beforehand, a tasting party. And what a tasting party is you have a bunch of booths set up with people that can demonstrate a sort of kink or kink related thing with you without it being about sex or a scene. It's just to see if you even like it in the first place. Like electric play, wax play, knife play, soft touches, sensual touch, things like that, right? That's what this is. She's basically giving them a tasting. She's not actually doing a scene with them. She's not actually having sex with them. She's not actually trying to arouse them. She's just trying to get them to see if this might be something they want to explore a little bit more deeply.
So what I'm doing is I'm asking Taylor if she wants it harder or softer.
Ew, I hate this. I don't like this at all.
Do you want to be scratched with it?
Oh, I like that.
Okay, so she likes to be scratched with it.
Okay, you guys. I hate that.
I know, this is a little too intimate.
They're so you know what I mean? Like they're so sheltered that they're like disgusted at the conversation, which is something that you should deconstruct, take apart, put it back together again, figure it out. Because yeah, like you have a lot of shame around sex. Like you should be excited. This should be fun. This should be like, oh, I love educating myself. But instead it's uncomfortable because it's too intimate. It's like, why are we doing this? Because we're learning about ourselves. Learning about yourself is an intimate process. Whether it's of the mind or of the body or of the soul, it is an intimate process. And you might say, well, Brittany, why are you comfortable watching them do a tasting, but not comfortable watching them do therapy? It's because therapy, you're actually doing it. A tasting is like if you role played therapy. It's not real therapy. It's a role play. This is a role play of what might be real sex. Now, you might say, well, why do you watch adult content? Adult content is still a performance, girls. Now, have I been in the dungeon where I've watched a real scene or I've watched real people make love? Yes, it is a very intimate process that coincides with an exhibition or voyeur kink in which it is a symbiotic relationship between participants, the audience, and the performers. We are not in the scene with them, but they know they are being viewed. And that is a consensual situation that has been set up for the purpose of exploring shared intimacy without it turning into an orgy, because that's different. Viewing somebody having sex is a type of relationship. It's a type of exchange, but I'm not still in the scene. The scene is just being viewed, which is different than us engaging in like an orgy in which we are all participants in the intimacy. And so it's an interesting relationship, being outside of the intimacy, but still viewing it, but not being really in it. And then being somebody who's like never seen somebody else have sex with anybody else in real life. You know, so for some people, maybe it would gross them out too much, but I learned so much about myself seeing people have sex in front of me. I really learned so much about myself with everything that I try, really, good or bad. But
I think Macy needs to work on her feathering techniques though, because it wasn't really doing anything for me.
Having to feather my friends, that sounds so weird. Like having to feather someone, being like, how does that feel? Ew, I did not like that one bit.
So they're not comfortable with one another, which is fine. You have to be comfortable with one another. This might be better done with like strangers or people you don't know yet. Oh my God, I don't know if you can hear the wind outside right now, but if you can hear that, that's crazy. The storm is coming in, girls. It's coming in.
The one thing that happened today that I never want to think about again was definitely Miranda whipping me with a whip.
They are being so negative, which is kind of a bummer, but I can see that they're just uncomfortable, which is valid.
It was definitely.
Because a big part of making something happen for you in the positive is actually engaging with it and actually trying to make it work. And if you're not going to try to make it work, it's not going to happen. Whether it's an orgasm or showing up for a performance or a friendship or anything else. Oh my God, that wind sounds like a monster in like Bird Box or something.
I'm so straight, it's scary.
Me too.
Oh, the girls are saying they're so straight, it's scary, which I get. But that's why it's perfect to do it with each other, because you're learning about yourself. It's not about the other person you're with, it's about you.
It's not about being straight. It's like just enjoying the feeling of it.
Yes, Taylor, it's just about enjoying the feeling and figuring it out.
You've kissed girls. I've never kissed a girl.
Yeah, but I am so straight too. I mean, I did not enjoy it, but it wasn't a turn on. I just did it.
Because girls can make out with girls and it not be gay. Guys can make out with guys and it's not gay. Exactly. See how I always say you can kiss a girl, it doesn't make you gay, guys.
Anyone wanting to be handcuffed with your ankles and your wrists?
I'll do that, yeah, sure.
Ooh, so she just asked if anybody wanted to be handcuffed, and Layla volunteered, which I'm very proud of her for.
On Amazon?
Nope. You can buy everything on Amazon.
You can buy stuff on Amazon. I recommend going to local sex shops instead and buying from local craftsmen, like local people who put a lot of effort into their items. Okay, so the first flogger I ever bought myself of quality is this one. This is elk leather. It's really sturdy. It's really beautiful. I really love it. I bought this at a local shop in Seattle. Okay, it's really, really nice. It's so soft. It's just like buttercream on your skin, gorge. One of the second or so investment floggers I ever bought was from Firebird Leather. Really great shop. I bought it online. Really recommend them. Firebird Leather. I'll put a link in the description. Isn't that beautiful? Like, isn't that the most beautiful thing you've ever seen? Oh, it's just gorgeous. It's just like the most gorgeous, lovely, beautiful flogger. I just love this flogger. So, you know, when you invest in stuff, it pays off. Look how beautiful. It just makes me so happy.
I think the first time I was getting tied up would be from a woman, but you know.
Taylor's face when she's like,
I'm just learning new things.
There we go. Okay. You're going to let me know how that feels, okay?
Are you close to orgasming?
Are you okay if I just hit you very lightly?
Yeah.
Okay. And then you're going to tell me if you want me to go a little harder or a little softer.
Give it to me, Daddy. I feel like you need to be the one on here right now.
Close your eyes.
I feel like these girls, their brains would just explode if they realized they could do this stuff as not even related to sex, but just like learning who you are as a person. I practice a lot of BDSM as a meditative practice, and I learned so much about myself, and it never needed to involve an orgasm or sex.
Moving forward, I'm going to be more open about trying things in sex and experimenting and just being more open and communicating when I'm having sex. I do feel hopeful that an orgasm is around the corner. Fingers crossed that it can happen soon.
Love that. Love an education class. Love the representation. You can learn so much about yourself. If you just stay open-minded, but with boundaries, open with boundaries.
Now that we've got the sex lesson out of the way, I think it's the perfect time to talk to Jen.
No, I thought we were going to talk to Jen and ruin the moment.
How are you and Zach doing?
We're doing better as of right now, as of today.
Good. How does it feel? Yeah. Has it been like a long road? Yeah.
Ooh, so she's like asking her random I don't like this. I don't appreciate this. I feel like this is producer pushed. Because like, why would you have this conversation right now in this setting?
I do feel like Demi, she likes to talk a lot about projection, which is very funny because it's like when you're prying and kind of going at somebody, it's like a projection thing.
I don't know if it's a projection thing in this context, but it's inappropriate.
So when she brings up Jen and Zach's relationship, you have to ask like, what is it? Why do you care about theirs?
I'd love to have a conversation with all of you and tell you, but I'm just trying to figure it out.
Okay, interesting boundary setting. I'd love to have a conversation, Jen says, but I'm trying to figure it out. Now, if they keep pushing her, I think that's inappropriate. Let's see what they do.
Yeah. So as of right now, I'm just keeping it between Zach and I, and that's what it is.
At this point, I think Jen needs to be held accountable for all of the lies that are coming out. We know that they are not related to Ben Affleck. They're putting Chippendales on me and Demi.
What? Did I miss that? Did I zone out when that happened? Because they keep saying like Ben Affleck's like their cousin or something. And now they're saying we know that's not true. Are they like related through marriage? Like they have the same last name. I thought that was the whole thing for the first season. Maybe I missed it. Did I miss it in these episodes and I didn't even process it?
Super exciting news. I got a book deal. Less than a year ago, I launched Baby Mama and it was an amazing experience. And now my book is about my life story.
Have any of you read her book? Is it out or is this the launch of the book?
I'm rooting for Whitney because I want her to like show like, yes, I've changed. I want to come to the group. I want to work on these relationships. And I think everyone deserves a second chance at the end of the day.
Okay. I will say, I do think Whitney's like really pretty. I think they're all really pretty, but something about Whitney's aesthetic, I just love. And I did love when she was a redhead, but there's something about her that just stands out to me. I don't know if you guys agree or not, but they're all very pretty, but there's something about Whitney that just like, it's that main character syndrome maybe.
I believe that when a group of women come together like this, there's nothing more powerful. But with Whitney, we're a little nervous that she's kind of coming back around and trying to hang out with us again. I think there's a lot of us questioning her intentions. We're not sure if she's trying to be back in Mom Talk for clout.
Well, obviously her and Miranda are ultimately coming in because it's a good business decision. But if any of them want to come in to be friends with anybody, I think that's crazy. Like that's so toxic. That's what I'm saying. Like, do y'all think you're healthy? Like, if the money wasn't an issue, like a thing, maybe they'd still want to be a part of it, but I just couldn't imagine.
I heard about Layla's Remove the Taboo party from Jen, and I was a little surprised.
Interesting that Jen also called Whitney. Jen just talks to everybody, doesn't she, when she feels like it?
Surprised to hear that I wasn't invited. I'd like to think maybe it's because I just had baby Billy.
Why would you be invited, Whitney? Read the room. Like, why does Whitney think she'd be invited? That's what I'm saying. Like, is this a friend event or a Mom Talk event? If it's a friend event, Whitney's not going to be invited. Miranda was invited because she's trying to get into. But do you know what I'm saying? Like, why would Whitney be invited to a friend thing? It doesn't make sense.
You guys want to hear why I brought you all here?
Yes,
we're dying. Celebrate with you guys because I got a book deal.
Like officially, like through a publisher?
Yes, so I'm super excited. I've been working on this for so long and I feel like I'm gonna shit. When I was first pregnant, I didn't know what I was doing with my life. My dad came into my room and he handed this to me and he said, write everything down, and the good, the bad, the ugly, when you're mad, when you're sad. He's like, when you hate us, when you love us, and maybe one day you can use it to help somebody else. And now it's happening. So like, I feel like it's just a big full circle moment. And so I'm just really excited because it's probably the biggest goal I've ever had.
I am so excited for Macy that she has this opportunity to tell her story in a book. People can be like, oh my gosh, like I'm going through the same thing. That's like what we're about in Mom Talk.
That is seriously so amazing. Like that is so cool. Like
thank you so much. I'm really excited. As you can tell, it's emotional because it's just like all my trauma.
Your story is insane, and I'm excited for you to have your shot to like tell you.
That is so cool. Thank you guys.
This was the lamest celebration I've ever seen. This would be such a big deal if I got a book deal. My friends better act a little bit more, you know what I mean? Like this is very low energy for me. She just announced she's getting a book published. Where is the screaming? Where's the running? Where's the, you know what I mean? They're all too calm for me. They're all too calm for me, but you do you.
So thanks for coming and celebrating.
I wonder if it's because they're like celebrities or something. They're just like, okay. And like, is this not a big deal? Like a real publisher is publishing your book? Like, or do they feel like, oh, you're only publishing your book because you're a celebrity, so it's not that big of a deal? I mean, I don't get it.
To me, seems a little maybe jealous, but she's trying to hide it.
Demi likes to put this up front that she's like this confident, put together woman. But to be honest, I feel like she has more insecurities than anyone. And she's really good at hiding it.
Okay, well, Jen, I think everyone's insecure in this group. That's why you guys are all friends. Because no healthy, secure person is in this friend group. So I don't know if we need to be pointing fingers.
You guys have something else exciting going on. I am hosting a celebrity pickleball tournament in Arizona. So are we all playing? You guys should come if you want to come.
Absolutely. Our last girls trip went pretty badly.
Vegas was messy. Is Demi being very like passive aggressive? What's happening there? It's edited that way. The producers asked Jen, like, Demi looks really jealous, you know? We don't know. We haven't really seen that side of Demi yet.
Get everyone together and hopefully mend friendships.
It's a horrible idea.
Girl, we're not going to mend friendships at a pickleball celebrity thing. Michaela's right. That's a bad idea.
No, I'm confessing everything in this book.
Oh my God.
So now it's time for you guys to confess.
Why does she love... Why do these girls love it? The guy, negative. Confession is supposed to be between you and God. Nobody's supposed to hear your confessions.
But so it's a truth box.
It's not the truth box.
Do we have to guess who wrote it or no?
It's all gonna be anonymous.
Oh, I bet it will. Just like the truth box was supposed to be.
Yeah, what the heck is this idea? This is such a silly idea. Is this for the book or just for this dinner? Like, what a ridiculous, like, no, this whole premise is icky. I don't like it.
Are you ready for this, Miranda?
Is this my initiation?
Oh,
This
gosh.
is the initiation, exactly.
I feel like I'm the only one that has a brain anymore.
You should have it be something that no one knows publicly.
These girls do not learn their lessons. Michaela's saying she's the only one with a brain, but she's still in this group.
Probably not the best idea.
I mean, it could be lighthearted if you wanted it to be, but also it could stir up some stuff.
I am trying to get pregnant.
I once had a man suck on my toes. Then I immediately left.
I think Jen is fake.
And of course, they're going to leave us at this end of the episode. Who wrote that? Who wrote that? Was it Jen? Who wrote that? Inappropriate. Inappropriate. Okay, toxic friend group, not a fan. Loved this xpert. Thought it was so important that she showed up and educated people. And I love the representation. Let me know what you guys think in the comment sections down below. And I will just say this, regardless of what happens from now on, I think anybody participating in Mom Talk is toxic. Because this particular group, it's too much. It's too much. And can I just say something? I don't want the boys to try to get out of this. Like, oh, the boys are so like, they're just dads. They're just like, you're also participating in it by being married to these women and being on this TV show. So these boys are not exempt from the toxicity either, even if they're coming off, quote, more wholesome other than Chase and Dakota. Because I think Jordan and Brett sort of like are edited to look a little bit more wholesome, but you're not. Okay, especially not with this like Sunday confessions possibility that Brett cheated on Demi. So Jordan does alcohol, Dakota is Dakota, Zach is Zach, Chase is Chase. So now we have Brett who might be a cheater and Jordan, like none of them are innocent. None of them are innocent. Thank you. Okay. Oh, and then remember how last season, Whitney's husband had his whole issue with like infidelity and stuff with the internet and whatever his whole thing was. Yeah. So these boys aren't exempt either. No matter how wholesome the editing tries to make them look, they're just at golf. They're just fishing. Anyways, with that said, like, subscribe, send this to somebody else watching the show, and I will see you guys for the next one. Bye-bye.